Friends, in just a moment we are going to begin the funeral service. If you have a cell phone or a pager, I would ask for you to take a moment and please turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And officiating today's services will be Rabbi Louis Lazowski from Congregation Kesser Mariv. In just a moment, the cemetery staff will bring out the casket. If there were some gentlemen that were serving as like honorary pallbearers that wanted to walk behind the casket and behind the cemetery staff, along with the rabbi, you certainly may do so. For those of you who need a chair, there are some seats available from the cemetery. Thank you. Ashbat Chashveyo, Adam Lahem Adam, Yamav Ketzel Over, Zram Tam Shanayu, Baboker Kechatsu Yachalof,
Boker Yatzis Chalaf Le'erev Yimalel V'Yavesh Yemei Shno Seinu V'hem Shivim Shana V'Mivros Shimonim Shana Rabam Amal V'Yaven Ki Gaz Chish V'Nofa Yimnos Yemenu Kenadav V'Nevin La Chochma Shmor Tomrei Ashor Ki Achris Li Shalom Achli Miftanav Shim Yad Shor Ki Yikacheni Selah V'Ned Noy Nefesh Avav V'Lo Yishmo Kol Chosim Bo Yashor V'El Oretz Kishaya V'Roch Tushu Elo Elohim Asher Nisavana. O Lord, what is man that thou dost regard him, or the son of man that thou dost think of him? Man is like a breath, his days are like a passing shadow. Thou dost sweep men away, they're like a dream. Like grass which is renewed in the morning it flourishes and is renewed, in the evening it fades and withers. The years of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength 80, yet their pride is but toil and trouble. They are soon gone, and we fly away. So teach us to number our days, that we may beget a heart of wisdom. Mark the blameless man, and behold the upright, for there is posterity for the man of peace. Surely God will ransom my soul from the grave, he will receive me indeed. The Lord redeems the souls of his servants, and none of those who take refuge in him will be condemned. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. The 23rd Psalm, and I believe that's in your service booklets. We'll read it first in Hebrew and then in English. Mizmor LaDavid, Adonai roi lo etzor, v'nostesha yarbitzeni al mimenu choshen aleini, nafshi shovei v'yancheni b'ma'aglei tzedek l'man shemo, gam kielech b'geit samoves, lo yirara ki ato imadi, shiftecha mishantecha heima yinachamuni, taroch v'fonai shulchan neged zoroi, dishanta b'shem roshi kosi revaya, achto b'chesed yirafuni koyimei chayoi, v'shavti v'veis Adonai liyorech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We're here to pay final tribute to David Ben Zalman, to David Ushkow of blessed memory. He was born in Chicago, and to his parents, to Saul and Anna. He was the oldest of 3 children, David and Janet and Joel. He was educated at Volta Grammar School, Von Steuben High School, and he went to Navy Pier for a pre-pharma degree, and he graduated from the University of Illinois as a pharmacist. His Jewish education, he studied at Beth Israel Hebrew School with Rabbi Lorge, and many of the beginning of the adversities that David had to face were that his father had a heart attack prior to his bar mitzvah, and his father was not able to be present at his bar mitzvah. And yet this early brush with adversity steeled David and enabled him, as the years would go by, to always be able to make lemonade out of lemons. He was married to Patricia and then to Joan, and Joel was actually responsible for the shidduch, and that Joel was working at Litton's, and Joel introduced them, and Joni was very hesitant to begin with, I guess. But then when she met David, she saw that this was the man for him. Both of them were so kind, were so caring, were so giving, that they were really soulmates. And thankfully, they brought each other boundless happiness and joy throughout the years. Their children were Marcia and Neil, Michael and Lois, Mitchell and Sarah, Mara and Marla, excuse me, I apologize. Mara and David, Ken and Jana, and Randy and Mark. And the grandchildren are Adam, Shai, Darcy, Matthew, Jeffrey, Samantha, Jason, Evan, Aiden, Clayton, and Saul. And great-grandchildren, Noam, Esther, Emmanuel, and Brielle. Okay. And David and Joni had such love for them and were constantly speaking of them and about them and how proud they were of them. David grew up in the Albany Park area, and then moved to Glenview, Des Plaines, Skokie, and then finally in Florida. The synagogues that he had affiliation with were Beth Israel, and then at Maine Township, where Joni was, and then Kesser Marav, and then in Florida as well. They were affiliated with a synagogue. In terms of employment, of course, we all knew David was a pharmacist. He owned 2 different pharmacies. The first one was North Shore in Highland Park, and then in Old Town. And then he worked as a private pharmacist. Remember, he always had the night shift, and he would come to 6 o'clock minion in the morning after having worked the whole night. And but yet he was bright-eyed and always eager to daven, always eager to help out, always eager to go to Shear. We used to have some brief classes, 10 minutes after the morning services, and while other people who had just woken up after a good night's sleep were half asleep, David was wide awake and was participating and asking questions. He always was working in the pharmacy double shifts, and when Mitch was born, he actually put up in the days when they used to have those big signs they used to make, he put up a sign in the window, "It's a boy," and everybody was so happy and rejoicing with him, because that was the kind of person he was, that he brought joy to others, and so others shared joy with him. And that's a unique thing then, and it's an even more unique thing even now. One time for one of his birthdays, and he loved the Black Forest cake, so the kids came by and they surprised him for his birthday, and that was such an important thing to the children as well as to David as well. They grew up in a pharmacy, and they were playing with toys, whatever, and they would see how their father would walk on the other side of the counter and speak with people and talk to people. And what do you need? And they looked at him as not just a pharmacist, but as a doctor and as a confidant. And again, you don't see that. But with David, there could be no other way. That was who he was, and that was how he acted all the days of his life. That some people help others because they have to. David helped others because he needed to. It was part of who he was. It was part of his mahus, as we say. Many of his attributes, of course, that he passed on to his children. He was always helpful. He was always giving. He was a source of strength, a source of inspiration. He was selfless, with a very kind and generous heart. He overcame illness and adversity with his orthostatic hypotension, and I think he had more stents than anybody I've ever known. And but yet, he'd go to the hospital. The next day he's in shul. I go, "David, what are you doing here?" I got a daven. Okay, that gave him strength, and I think that it was really a hidden reserve that was always David was able to draw on as a result of his again, his early experience with adversity. He was able to draw on God as a source of strength and pass that on to others. He instilled in his children a sense of wonder for the world. Mike mentioned to me, Michael, when he after 8th grade graduation, he took him for ice cream, and it made such a difference in his life. And when Marla was young, told a story. Some of the kids were bullying her, and David would always run over, and he would chase them away, and would be her sense of support. And even later in life, he would talk to them, and if they were down or upset, until they were laughing, by the end of the conversation continued on. And this is very true. I mean, everybody who knows David, this was David. He always told his children and his grandchildren how proud he was of them. He always spoke to myself, to my wife Soretta, constantly how the kids are doing, and thank God, and it took such great pride. Honestly, their accomplishments were his accomplishments, and he was really a partner with the Almighty. God, what does God do? God takes care of us. God gives to us. As a matter of fact, the source of the word love, of Ava, is Hav, means to give. And that's what David was. He was always loving others, and always giving to others, and always inspiring others, and always strengthening others, and always healing others. Not just by prescribing the right medicine, but also by prescribing the right love, the right caring that enable his patients and others to move forward. He loved science fiction. That's something that as I was speaking with Marla, I didn't know that he loved science fiction. And that when the kids came down to Florida, he took you to a Star Wars movie. So again, I never knew that side of David at all. He would see me, he would talk to me about learning. He would talk to me about a class we gave. We have so many cassettes in the synagogue of the various classes. If you listen to him, you'll always hear David asking a question or making a remark, an insightful remark. I was told that he also loved flea markets. I didn't know that either. My brother's friends all go to flea markets. I've never been to them, but I hear you can get good bargains over there. I guess I was told he bought little snakes, those little black snakes. He always bought legal fireworks, not illegal fireworks. But, right? Am I wrong, or are you laughing? Let's say they always bought legal fireworks and leave it at that. Again, this was really part of the joy that he brought to life. In Hebrew, we call it a simchas chayim, a joy of life. And not just his physical adversities, he always brushed them off. He was spiritually a giant. He was spiritually so inspiring to others. I remember the first time he spent all night with us at Shavuos, and he couldn't believe it. He was up all night anyway. He was used to the pharmacy routine, but he was participating, and he said, "Rabbi, I've never experienced anything like this." And he took it and he ran with it. He was devoted to family. He was devoted to religion. He was devoted to his profession. And he was devoted to the Jewish people. Now, David passed away on Pesach Sheni. What's Pesach Sheni? So, in the desert, there were individuals that had taken upon themselves the responsibility of carrying the remains of Joseph from Egypt for reburial in Israel. And yet, when it came to Passover, if you were ritually unclean by being in contact with the dead, so you're not allowed to bring a sacrifice. So they presented their question to Moses. Moses, we're doing the right thing. Why is it that we shouldn't be allowed to bring the Passover sacrifice? And they thought that they would get dispensation, that they could do it even in a state of uncleanliness, and that would be that. But Moses said, wait, I'll ask God. Moses turned to God and asked God, and because of the desire of these people to do well, to do good, God brought a new mitzvah through them, the mitzvah of Pesach Sheni. that 30 days after Passover, if you're unable to bring the Passover sacrifice, you're permitted 30 days later to have Passover. Not cleaning out the house. You can have chametz in the house the whole morning. But just for the Passover sacrifice, that has to be, again, chametz free with matzah. So as a result of their caring about doing mitzvos, that they brought down new good deeds to other people to this day. That was David, along with Joni. They did good deeds. They enabled others to do good deeds. And this was fitting that he should pass away on Pesach Sheni. And today is Lag Bomer. Now, we're in the Sphira period. Sphira is always a very great period of sadness. Why is it sadness? Because it's a period of anticipation. We left Egypt. We were slaves. We had to be transformed from a nation of slaves to a Mamlechas Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh, a nation of priests and a sanctified and a holy people. And yet, but it's sad because we're lacking something. We need something. And David, in his way, with Joan at his side, they were always lacking. They were always lacking more Torah. They were lacking more good deeds. They were lacking more ways to help their children and everybody else. And again, it's fitting that on this day of Lag BaOmer, which is a day of happiness among this Sphira period, that this should be the day that the man that brought happiness to others should be able to meet his loving family members and his Creator. I'd like to ask his mechila, ask his forgiveness for not respecting him the way I should have. This past year especially, did not keep in touch with him with COVID the way I did in the past. And for that, I ask you mechila, and on behalf of the congregation Kesemarim as well, I'd like to ask thank you for all you did for us, and to ask mechila. I think the best tribute that we could give to David would be, and to Joni and Libad L'chaim, would be to continue his deeds, to live the life that he wanted us to sacrifice on behalf of other people, to always be learning, to always be studying, to always bring ourselves closer to God, to being partners with the Almighty. Because everybody's always looking for a partner in business. There are no better partners than the Almighty. And David and Joni understood that, and they lived that life. So, may his soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. May he continue to look after his family as he's done on this earth. He'll be able to even do a better job in the next world, and to look after Joni and grant her a full shlema along with all those the family members who need. So we're going to recite now, as they lower David's remains, the Tziddik Adin, and then we'll translate that in English, and then whoever would like to participate in the actual Kura will be able to do so, and you just have to wear gloves, and they have gloves here, and we do not hand the shovel from one person to the next, because it seems if we're eager to bury someone. So instead we just put the shovel down and let the next person take it. So the Tziddik Adin, Atzur Tamim Pa'alo, Yichol Rochav Mishpat, El Emunah V'Einav El Tzadik V'Yasharhu, Atzur Tamim B'Chol Po'al, Miyomar Lo Matifo, Hashalit b'matu v'ma'al, Mei mishum chaya moed shol v'yoal, Atzur chamim b'chol maseh, Yimar lo ma ta'aseh, Omer b'yosech chesed chinam lo ma ta'aseh, Yishku senek ha'kesek shiva v'yaseh, Tzadik b'chol bracha, Atzur tamim erech ha'payim olei rachamim, Hamol b'chus kal abo suvanim, Tzadik ato Adonai lahamis ulachayos. Asher biyadcha pigdon kol ruchos. Chalila lecha zichroneinu limchos. Yuno einecha berachmim aleinu pkuchos. Yilcha Adon arachamim v'has lichos. Adam im ben shana yichyeh. O elef shanim yichyeh. Ma'isron lo kelo haya yiyeh. Baruch dayan hu emes me'nis v'chayeh. Baruch hu ki emes dino. Mishotei lakol meino. Mishalem l'adam cheshbono v'dino. Yakol ishmo hodaya yiteinu. Yodanu Adonai ki tzedek mishpatecha. Yitzdak b'dvarecha. V'tizke b'shavtecha. Ve'ein l'harher achar midas shavtecha. Tzadik ato Adonai ki yashor mishpatecha. Dayan emes shofet tzedek v'emes. Baruch dayan hu emes. Shechol mishpatov tzedek v'emes. Nefesh kol chai b'yadecha. Tzedek malo yiminecha. V'chein al pleitas son yadecha. Somar lamalach eret yadecha. Yidol hoitza v'rahav hallelujah. Asher einecha pkuchos. Amar chevnei adam. Oseis lish kibracha b'chrim alalav. Agi ki yashor Adonai tzuri v'lo avlasavo. Adonai enoson di Adonai lakach. Yehi shem Adonai nevarach. Vehu rachum yechaper avon v'lo yashchis. V'yavol ashiv apov lo yoir chamaso. Sheltering rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are justice. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right is he. The sheltering rock, perfect in his works, who dares say, what dost thou? To whom who rules above and below, who takes away life and gives it, who brings down to the grave and raises up therefrom. The sheltering rock, perfect in all his deeds, who dares say to him, what dost thou? Thou who promised and fulfills, show your gracious mercy to us, and for the sake of him who is bound on the altar like a lamb, Isaac, hearken to our prayer and grant our request. Thou who art righteous in all your ways, rock of protection, long-suffering and abundant in mercy, we beseech you, have pity and compassion on us, and spare both the fathers and the children, for to thee, O Lord, pertain compassion and pardon. Righteous art thou, O Lord, in taking away or giving life, for in thy hand are pledged all spirits. Far be it from thee to blot us from memory, O look towards us with mercy, for art the Lord of mercy and pardon. If a man lives 1 year or 1,000 years, of what avail is it? For is he not as though he had never been? Praise be the true judge who takes away and gives life. Praise be he, for his judgments are true, as he scrutinizes all things and rewards man according to his deeds. Let all men therefore praise his name. We know, O Lord, that thy judgments are right, thy decrees just, and thy judgments pure, and none shall presume to question your judgments. You are the true judge, and all your judgments are true. The soul of every living creature is in your hand, for there is justice in your command. O have mercy on the remnant of your flock, and say to the angel of destruction, withdraw thy hand. O thou art great in counsel, and mighty in action, who decides the ways of the children of men, and rewards each one according to his ways, and the fruits of his labor, manifesting that the Lord is upright. He is my sheltered rock, in whom there is no iniquity. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Praise be the name of the Lord. He the most merciful forgiveth iniquity, and destroyeth not. Often he turns aside his anger, and does not awaken his wrath. a custom to place earth from the Mount of Olives on the graves, and then afterwards we will begin the actual funeral. Yes, come the David, Shemini El Kifasiva, Amar Padnoyer Noyot, Tavoti Valalecho, Adoshim Asher Beores, Hema Vadiwe Kochef Sivam, Yibu Adko Samacher Maharo, Alasik Niskei Emidam, Malasoy Shmo Samal Fosoy, Adnoy Menas Chelki Bechosi, Atosomich Govali, Govalim Nofli Banim, Mimach Nachla Shofraloi, Avreches Adonai Asher Yotzon Yaflelos Yisrael Yosoi Shavi Adonai Negdi Samid Kimini Avalamot Achain Tzamach Libi Vyagel Kvodi Absor Ushkow Lovetach Kilos Azov Nafshi Mishal Yitain Chasid Chaliros Shochas Sidieni Orachayim Solas Machos Azov Mos Bimi and Chasach. O keep me, O God, for I have taken refuge in Thee. I have said unto the Lord, Thou art my Lord, I have no good but in Thee. As for the holy that are in the earth, they are excellent, in whom is all my delight. Let the idols then be multiplied that make suit unto another. Their offerings I will not offer, but take the names of my Lord, the portion of mine hand, my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. The lines are falling unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. God bless the Lord who has given me counsel. Yea, in the night season, my angels guard me. I have the Lord always before me. Surely he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad and my glory rejoices. I shall not be safe, for thou wilt not abandon my soul from the world. Hide the Lord thyself as thy God, for he will see. of joy, and bliss forevermore.
He was on the bench and then he disappeared. So maybe he went back to the car.
I just want to thank you. Thank you.
Still working hard. Three children in college. Time to roll away. Now you can be in Tokyo's warehouse now. Have you seen the baby? Well, they'll be of all the things, like I said before, of all the things that
Okay, we're going to now say the Kelmali Rachamim, after which we are going to say the mourner's Kaddish, the burial Kaddish, a special burial Kaddish, and after which then we'll form Shura, form 2 lines for the mourner to be able to walk through. Walk through.
After all these years, you're forgetting what you have to do, right?
What is it?
I said, after all these years, Rabbi, you're forgetting what you have to do.
No, I remember what we're supposed to do. Oh,
Make it a joke.
okay. Kelmali Rachamim, Shochein Gamramim, Hamtzei Menachonachona, Tavkanfei Ashchina, Malos Kidoshim Etern Zorakia, Nishmas David Ben Zalman, Shalach Yaho, Bavur Shebnei Mishpachto, no talk about Askeras Nishmaso, Gan Eden Temenuchaso, Lochein Barachamim Yasur says Chalav Yamim, Bitror B'Chaimis Nishmaso Adonai Anachalaso, V'Noch V'Shalom Yishkaho, V'Nomar Amen. O God, full of compassion, God who dwells on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of your presence among the holy and pure. Shine as the brightness of the firmament. The soul of David Ushkow, David, the son of Zalman, has gone into eternity, and whose memory charity is offered by the family. May it repose in paradise. May the Lord of mercy bring him under the cover of his wings, and let him sit down under the light of eternal life. May the Lord be his possession, may his repose be peace. Amen. Say it together. Yiskadal, Yiskadash, Shemei Rabah, V'yomod Yehud, Osnid, Leishchadata, Lachaya Mesaya, Lasaka, Lachai Holma, Livnei Karta Yerushalayim, Lashachle Lecholei, Begavo, Me'ekar Pulchon, Nuchra, Mi'ara, Lasava Pulchon, Adishmaya Lasra, Yam Lachut Shabri, Chukmal Tasei, Rei, V'chayachon, V'yamechon, V'chayachol Beis Yisrael, Adlaviz Man Karib, Imru, Amen. Yehesh Me'rab Barach, Me'ram Me'il Mayah, Skorech, V'ishtabach, V'yisper, V'yisroma, V'yisnasei, V'yisador, V'yishalev, V'yishalol, Shemei D'Kudsho, B'richu, Le'lo Min Kol, B'richaso, V'shirasa, Shwasa, V'ne'amasa, Ahiran B'yamo, V'imromein, Yei Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Tov Maleinu, Ya'ako Yisrael, Amen. Say Shalom, Rama, V'rama,